Shane O'Donoghue from the Irish men's hockey team. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much for having me here.
How's things?
Yeah, good, all good.
Busy time for you guys. First men's World Cup for Ireland in 28 years coming up. You open your campaign against Australia on the 30th of November. Is this kind of the stage now, the nervous excitement? You're itching to get out there, I suppose?
Yeah, big time. Yeah, no, we've been kind of preparing now for a while, and it's gone very, very well. But obviously, when you get close to the time when you're departing, you know what I mean, it's the excitement kind of grows within the squad, amongst the staff as well, and hopefully amongst the hockey community as well. So it's like we've been kind of gearing up for this really since we qualified last summer in Joburg.
Yeah.
Here the time is here now, and we've enjoyed time together, so it's now kind of the lads just gunning to get out there and play the first game against Australia.
Yeah, you've got one final game, warm-up game against the Netherlands on Monday. How have kind of preparations to the whole been going? Because as you say, it is kind of a long enough build-up. You qualified last year, and it's kind of been all gearing up towards this for the last couple of months.
Yeah, like obviously, you know, as I said, like the World Cup campaign started once we qualified last summer. You know, obviously summertime was, you know, always a high period in terms of getting the preparation off to a good start. International season is generally July and August, so you know, we had a bit of a turbulent phase, obviously losing our past coach Craig Fulton to Belgium, but you know, we maximised the time we had, and you know, obviously the preparation recently has gone quite well. You know, new coach coming in obviously has its challenges, you know what I mean, so we only came in September. We had 5 camps, 2 based in Ireland, 3 in Holland, and then obviously the 4 nations in Valencia, so it's some wins and draws, you know what I mean, that's kind of the way preparation goes. But in general, we've been trying some things out, trying to, you know, coach is kind of trying to implement some small little tweaks, small little changes, and it's gone pretty well so far.
Yeah, for the large majority of this group, it's not a first big tournament, major tournament. Rio obviously would have been that, you broke that seal in that tournament, desperately unlucky not to qualify for the quarters there. Is it different this time around? Does it feel different just because you have that experience in the bank?
Yeah, I think so. I think, like, you know, we've obviously a wealth of experienced guys who've been playing for 10 plus years, but as you said, I think when you go to Olympic Games, it is that bit bigger, and I think it was a big learning curve for all of us, and I think maybe over 50% of that squad is still here. You know, obviously we've, you know, brought in some youth, you know, some very, very talented youth, so I think, I think we took some valuable lessons from Rio, and hopefully we can implement them going into the World Cup. And you know, it's obviously going to be a bit tricky this time round. There's gaps in between each game, you know what I mean? So being able to kind of, you know, keep your focus there, and you know, not kind of lose sight of what you're actually doing there. You know, especially when you've got 3 or 4 days off, the mind can wander, and you can start to kind of maybe dwell on the last game, and you know, you've got plenty of time to think about the mistakes you made in the first game and the second game. But most certainly we're going to use the experience we have and match that with the youth, and we're going to give it a right crack. Yeah,
you mentioned Craig Fulton. He had obviously a huge influence in getting Ireland to Rio, and then even this World Cup itself. His loss was, as you say, a bit of a blow in a World Cup year, but Alex Cox has come in. There seems to be a decent enough transition there. The structures have been in place. Can you kind of talk me through that? Obviously came in September, so it's not ideal, as you said, but you know, he's a coach that seems to have plenty of credentials as well, having worked with Campong.
Yeah, hugely so. He's a world-class, high-caliber coach, you know, and we're obviously extremely lucky to have gotten him at the time we did, you know, obviously with look, listen, you know, Ned left at a fairly crucial time, as I said, but you know, that's life, I suppose. He moved on to another challenge, and you know, in fairness to Hockey Ireland and to the staff members who were still involved for the last number of years, kind of steadied the ship, you know, along with the senior players in the group, and we look, listen, he's a world-class coach. He's brought some interesting styles to the game, you know, and we've kind of maximised the last kind of couple of weeks, you know, with him, and you know, had some pretty intense training camps. Obviously, in the 4 nations of Valencia was quite intense as well, you know. So it's like it was a tricky one to kind of to get used to the way he thinks. Alexander Cox, you know what I mean, very, very different to Ned, but you know, in terms of what he's done with Campong and what he's and his background, his experience, you know what I mean, it's, you know, for us, I think it's going to really come to fruit now in the World Cup. Yeah,
can we expect to see a huge difference in the way Ireland are approaching our play at this World Cup under the new coach, or is it going to be very much similar to how you've kind of achieved success over the last few years?
Yeah, like he's pretty adamant about keeping, you know, our strengths and our characteristics that he's seen in us in recent times, you know, and I think he's just kind of maybe looking to get us to play probably a bit more direct. You know, he's big on, you know, us creating that belief in ourselves and to not lose sight of it, you know what I mean, to say, listen, you know, if we do perform, you know, there's no reason why we can't beat these top teams in the world, and we've shown that in the past. So he's not looking to change everything, he's looking to change a couple of small things, with the mentality especially, and then kind of looking to execute at the right time and, you know, counter-attacking style, which is probably not what we've been used to for many years. But no, he's making some really interesting changes, and you know, I think it's shown in glimpses in the preparation. I think that's the way it goes. You know, it's difficult to always produce the goods in preparation games, especially when you're playing the likes of the Dutch and the Belgians. Yeah, but I've no doubt that we're going to bring it all together now for the first game against Australia.
Yeah, it will be a tough first game, and then China and England to come. So it doesn't, you know, there's obviously easier games in the pool than others, but a pretty tough pool to get through.
Yeah, I think each pool kind of has, you know, their different teams and their different challenges that those teams have, and you know, Australia obviously is a big one. You know, they're back-to-back World Cup champions. You know what I mean, for a reason, and you know, they're going to come and look to make it a third in a row. So, you know, we'll make sure we're obviously prepared. You know, we'll do our preparation when we get over there, acclimatise, and you know, obviously we've played Australia a number of times. We know what they're capable of and what their strengths are, and you know, there's yeah, from the team's point of view, you know, we're going to win every game over in the group stage. You know, and we'll obviously adapt our approach a little bit to obviously England and China. You know, but looking to kind of implement the same kind of tactics. You know, similar kind of things. We'll be looking to focus on every single game that, you know, are just really, you know, they're kind of core principles in our play. Yeah, but I think the first game is obviously crucial in any tournament to, you know, to perform well. You know, if the result doesn't go your way, that's unfortunate, but I think if we perform well in the first game, it kind of gets the ball rolling into the second game against China, which is obviously a must win. Yeah,
you mentioned mindset there. What can you take from what the women did in London during the summer?
Yeah, it's obviously a phenomenal achievement. You know, absolutely, like it was incredible watching it, and you know, I think I wouldn't be the only person to say they were quite shocked, quite surprised at how well they did. You know, but what I wasn't really shocked about was the mentality and the mindset they had. You know, they went over there, obviously led by Graham Shaw, you know, with the intent to never give up. You know, those kind of cliche Irish attributes and characteristics, and game by game they grew. Obviously, the game against USA really spurred them on, got the ball rolling. Obviously, you know, I'm a firm believer that success is when kind of preparation meets opportunity. You know what I mean? And you throw luck in there as well a little bit, which every team needs in every big tournament. You know, but certainly it's going to act as a big inspiration to us. You know, the teams are very, very similar in terms of the backgrounds, the sacrifice and the commitments that are made. You know, as an amateur athlete and as a full-time, you know, worker or student or whatever it is. So. Yeah, we'll be looking to possess the exact same mindset, and I think it's been there for a number of years.
Yeah, the men obviously broke the seal on Rio, qualifying for that tournament. The women, as we say, have gone on and set the bar even higher, I suppose, in London. So it's just driving Irish hockey forward. It's a good thing. There's, you know, it's competition there at the same time as just driving standards, driving opportunity, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think it's a joint effort to try and, you know, to continually grow our sport in this country. You know, it is definitely on the upward curve, and obviously the women, with the amount of coverage they got, which they obviously deserved, and the publicity, you know, it was fantastic. And you know, coming down to Dame Street for the reception, you know, it was just absolutely spectacular, really, to be honest. And you know, whether it was us or them, you know what I mean, being there as a, you know, an Irish hockey enthusiast or, you know, a lover of hockey in Ireland, you know, it was fantastic scenes. It really, really was seen, and it was, you know, it was just what people kind of forget is obviously, you know, we made Rio, but the women came agonisingly close, you know, and to be able to bounce back from that again just shows their mentality and the mindset they had, because I can be damn sure they were in a pretty dark place after not qualifying for Rio, and I think it just made the achievement that more special for them and for Irish hockey.
For sure, the mindset was obviously there, but a huge part to play in that was the experience that some players had playing abroad, and that was spoken about quite widely during the tournament. It showed as well. You guys have obviously got plenty of guys playing abroad. Yourself, you've played in Belgium this season. You have previous experience playing there as well. How much is that going to help? Because you're living in that professional environment or semi-pro environment. You're living and breathing hockey. It's a big difference to being trying to squeeze it all into a working life here. Yeah,
obviously, listen, like it's certainly easier for us to obviously focus entirely on the international program when you are a professional or a semi-professional athlete, and it is difficult for the guys who are here, who are balancing, you know, full-time job, full-time studies potentially, and a family as well. So it's certainly when you're over in Belgium and Holland and Germany and the likes, you know, it does put you in that mindset. It does put you in that environment, as you said, that, you know, you can focus on certain aspects of your game, improve it. You know what I mean? There's no real excuses not to be the best you can be in as many areas as possible, and you know, obviously then the plus side of that is you're playing against guys you're probably going to be facing in the, you know, when you play on the green jersey, and you know, you kind of learn from them, you kind of adapt to kind of the different cultures and the way they play over there, and it certainly will benefit us a lot. The fact that we have a large chunk of the guys in our current 18-man, 20-man squad who are based on the continent. So, it is just kind of opening your eyes to different styles of hockey and just becoming a bit more aware of how different countries, play and the different styles they like to implement in games, especially in kind of big tournaments like the World Cup.
Yeah, for you on a personal level, you obviously played with Glan last year, your home club, and you helped them win the league here, but can you kind of break it down to what benefits, simplify it almost to what benefits you do get? You mentioned the preparation, that mindset, being in that environment 24/7, but when you do then pull on the green jersey to go out and step out in the tournament or Four Nations tournament, whatever it is, what's kind of the benefits, what's the differences that you notice?
Yeah, I think the gap is certainly a lot smaller from the professional leagues to international hockey, whereas the gap probably from the EY League, the EY League here in Ireland is probably that bit bigger. So the jump when you go from training with club into the international camps, you're kind of making a bigger leap. Just in terms of the overall intensity of the trainings, there's a lot more kind of game-based training sessions where you come off every training feeling pretty knackered and feel like you've given a good shift. So I think it's good preparation for the camps and for any tournaments, purely from the point of view just your focus is sharpened, your first touch, and the small details are kind of, they almost become a bit more automatic than they do kind of maybe being back here in Ireland, and just the overall intensity of the games, of your trainings in general, just they force you really to kind of rise to the standard and to really improve your game. And I think from playing last year in the league, even though the league was quite competitive here last year, to come back over, just the overall intensity and speed of the game is an awful lot higher. And as I said, the gap is just a little bit smaller, from international hockey compared to the EY League to international hockey. Yeah,
and off the field as well, you've got those resources to make sure you recover right, you prepare right, so that's obviously a big thing as well.
Yeah, huge. And obviously we're extremely lucky to have, with the international side and with Dragons and all the guys who are playing professional, to have, so much expertise and resource at your disposal. Anything from recovery to cryo labs to ice, simple things like ice baths. Like everything is there. And it's you're in a professional side which is looking to achieve something. Whereas obviously here you got guys who are working 5 days a week and have various other commitments going on in their life. Whereas there you have less commitments, and guys' focus is mainly around hockey, and obviously for the international players, it's a good environment to be in.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of the women's squad in the back of their World Cup success earn contracts in Europe. You obviously went over to Belgium a couple of years ago. What's the difference now in mindset or kind of outlook on Irish hockey now compared to maybe back then? Just guys within Europe viewing the Irish team, the Irish players. What's the kind of the difference, or is there a difference?
Yeah, it's obviously a difficult one, because you don't want your domestic national league to go to. Yeah. To drop too low and drop to a poor standard, and it's unfortunately it's the clubs here who are giving these platforms to the guys to go away, which is obviously a positive and a negative. I suppose, as I said already, it's just a different styles of hockey. Being able to train 3-4 times a week on the pitch, not including any other extra sessions you do. It just means then from the national coach's perspective that the player's going to be ready at an earlier stage, and they're going to be physically fit, they're going to be mentally sharp, and they're going to be fairly focused on their hockey and the areas they need to improve. So I think the attitude has shifted over the years, and we see it now with the women. Obviously, a large chunk of them playing on the continent, and it's you're playing with more international players from different parts of the world, different continents. So you're up against the best of the best, on a weekly basis. Whereas here, unfortunately, you can kind of come out in some games and maybe play at 50%, and all of a sudden then automatically you've kind of accepted a lower level. So yeah, it's just a higher standard abroad in all, like Belgium, Holland and Germany in particular. Those three countries are the ones where the Irish players tend to flock to and look for a professional contract and try and stay out there for as long as they can. And as well, more than anything, it's the lifestyle is pretty nice. It gives you a nice, you have your downtime. Whereas here, obviously if you're looking to earn a bit of money, you're going to have to be doing kind of a bit of coaching or part-time job or potentially a full-time job. So yeah, it's just, unfortunately when you're kind of balancing all of that, the energy levels can be depleted quite quickly. Yeah,
one of the reasons why you said you went back over to Belgium this year, or the incentive I suppose, was the fact that you could progress your off-field career as well with the club Dragons. They obviously helped you kind of get an internship or work outside hockey, so that was obviously a big pull for you going back.
Yeah, big thing, because I obviously got out of Belgium the last time and having 2 successful seasons, being champion twice. I went over purely with the intention of playing hockey, and not, I had just finished my studies, in UCD, so it was the timing was good, But then I think, thinking about moving back over for this season, I had to do something else. Obviously with the World Cup still being one of my main focuses, or probably being my main focus, it was just paramount for me to kind of get something off the field, to kind of just keep an eye on my career, keep it ticking over, and maximise kind of my recovery and rest time. Obviously, make sure I get it, but at the same time, to try and make sure I'm doing something for my career on a consistent basis. You know what I mean? But and it's a nice balance as well, having been able to train with the international team in the club, but also be able to switch off and focus on something else.
Yeah, what are you doing over there?
So I'm doing a bit of kind of executive coaching in a company called Mentally Fit. So mainly people who work there are all kind of ex-athletes of individual and team sports, and kind of using sports principles really to implement into the corporate and working world, and they've got some big clients. Over the years they've been in existence for maybe 30 odd years. They've kind of grown as years have gone on, and it's a very nice atmosphere in the office, and it's quite flexible, and they are extremely accommodating for obviously the World Cup preparation, and understand that I won't be in the office that much, and giving me whatever time I need to focus on preparation for the World Cup and making sure that I'm in the right frame of mind for for when I come into camp with the Irish team, and obviously for practice tournaments like the Four Nations, and of course then the World Cup. But it's really, really enjoyable, and I have to say it's different than the last time I was in Belgium, and it's as I said, it's a nice healthy balance.
Yeah, that's the reality though, isn't it, for Irish hockey, women's, men's players, that you get to a stage in your career where you do have to look towards building outside of hockey and putting the blocks in place, I suppose. It's just a reality of it.
It is, yeah, and I think it's very easy to kind of grow. I think we obviously take Davy Hart, for example, went over and played professional hockey, and obviously fantastic goalkeeper, the best in the world, and before you know it, you've played 4 or 5 seasons abroad, and it goes by so quick. So it's very easy to kind of forget about life after hockey, especially when you're over there in that lifestyle, and a couple of hundred to a few thousand people watching your games every week. You know what I mean? It becomes a bit of an addiction, and you just really, really enjoy it. So unfortunately, it is what it is, and I think it's really important the hockey players kind of coming up through the ranks realise that hockey won't give you a living, and it's really, really important that you do prioritise things along with your hockey. The hockey isn't your only focus, and it isn't the only thing you're thinking about, because as we've seen with rugby players alike and footballers, it takes one bad injury and that could be your career over. So you got to make sure you look after it, and I think it also gives a nice healthy balance as well, especially when hockey isn't going well, and I've experienced it a bit in the past, where it's nice to have another outlet to kind of focus your energy on, focus your mind on, and try and let that and use that to kind of help your hockey a little bit when it's not going well. So it's the reality here in Ireland, and hopefully it will change. I think the success of the women, and hopefully if we perform to the level we can, hopefully we can bring some success in late December, and hopefully you can continue to raise a few eyebrows here in Ireland.
Do you feel that kind of, you're going there first tournament World Cup in 28 years, but do you also at the same time feel a bit of pressure, because as you said, it is all nearly self-promotion, the exposure that you get, the media coverage is all based on what you do on the pitch? And
yeah, big time. I think we're aware of it. I think since probably 2015, where we won the bronze medal in London in the Europeans, I think since then we've recognised and we've become very aware that we have to consistently do this on a tournament by tournament basis, and I think it's really, really important that when we qualified for the Olympics, we performed there, we did what we did, and then off the back of that, then we did qualify for the World Cup, and it is about consistently performing at the high level, and putting Irish hockey in the map and putting it up there with the big dogs, in both the men and the women's game, but obviously, listen, we're going to be realistic. Reality is we have some big sports here in Ireland. Rugby, for example, has soared, and since gone professional in '97. So it's these things do take time, and we've seen it with nations such as Belgium, who were in a similar position to us maybe 10 years ago, and now look where they are. But we have to continue, keep on pushing that bar higher and higher, and the World Cup is no better platform, as the women did, to push for a medal. Yeah,
Alexander Cox at the squad announcement a couple of weeks ago was asked inevitably, can this men's team replicate or emulate what the women's did, and he was very honest about it, that it may be harder to do something like that in the men's game, just the structures of it. harder to bridge that gap, I suppose, between the top teams and those kind of below them. What are your kind of realistic ambitions going to India?
Yeah, like I definitely agree with the statement. I think it is a little bit more difficult on the men's side, albeit the women, whoever the women had in front of them, they defeated them in the way they did. And, I think, look, make no mistake about it, we're not going over to take part and just make the numbers up. We are and have exceeded expectation over the last number of years. So we're going over with that belief, with the ambition of performing to the standards we set ourselves. And we know when we do perform at that level, good things and great things have happened in the past. So I think, I think the obvious one is to, approach each game in the pool. Obviously do our homework, make sure we give every game our all. It's nice in one way with the format, having some rest days in between. You can give it your all in every game and then rest for 2 or 3 days. So, look, we'd be looking to finish top of the group. If that doesn't happen, then obviously we'd be looking to definitely finish second. And and the way it is, and the way we saw with the women, with some big teams bowing out early in the tournaments, those crossover games, you could face a desirable opponent, or it could be someone that you're kind of you've had some struggles with in the past. But I think when it comes to World Cup, Olympic Games, you have to be able to beat anybody to to get to the level you want to get to. And generally for every team, it's being on that podium, it's playing in those medal matches, and the belief, preparation's been done now, the belief is high. So I see no reason why we don't go over there with the attitude of nothing to lose. I'm super for I for one. Anyway, I know the team are as well. Are super excited about what we can achieve in India, and I think we've proven in recent tournaments that if we do perform well and we do stick to our guns, we can beat anybody. Yeah,
as you said, you have played all these teams. You have invariably beaten most of them as well. So there is that belief there. It's not like you're going completely into the unknown.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe if you had asked maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, would we be competing with these teams? I would have said no. I said no chance. I certainly think nowadays, I think since probably the turning point was the European bronze medal, beating a very experienced, talented, English side in their backyard, I think was the real turning point, and obviously getting some recognition off that. And I think that really instilled the belief. That gave us the real strong platform to go on and say, look, there's no reason, we're not going to use the excuse of being amateur athletes to bow out of tournaments and say, look, we played to our ranking, we didn't really, we're playing against some really top class opposition who train together on a week by week basis. No, we didn't use that as an excuse, and we performed well in some games, probably have some regrets about it. So I think that as well will kind of, will be in the minds of some of the guys who played in Rio going over to the World Cup. I think we'll be there to really prove a point, and we'll certainly use the women's achievement as a source of inspiration. Make no mistake about it, it was a truly amazing achievement. And I'm just really excited about getting over there now. Yeah,
we saw in London the huge support the women received. Obviously India is slightly further away. It's not as easy to kind of hop on a flight and get over. Many family and friends going over, or is it kind of, you'll receive all the support before you go, and it's kind of you guys out there now fighting against the world essentially?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely going to be that way. I don't think there is a group of parents and families who are going over, probably not to the same level as the women, or to even back in Rio where we had a couple of hundred going over. And look, it is what it is. It's a good distance away for people to travel, and it probably isn't the most exotic of places to go. Obviously when family and girlfriends and wives etc. come over, they do make a holiday out of it. Which is fair enough. They're our support network, and they put up with us when the times are good, and when the times are bad, they're there. So for them, it's a nice little holiday as well. So look, all the kind of the send-offs and all will be done obviously. When we leave and when we're over there. Look, the Irish crowd, in regards to the numbers, they're always loud. They're always there. They're ever present. So, there's obviously nice scenes over in London. With the women doing so well, and there's a big followership. Over in London, and people flying over for each game and for the group stage, etc. So it was nice to see that, and it's a pity our World Cup wasn't there. But look, it is what it is, and no doubt, hopefully, people can get on and watch some of the games and jump on that bandwagon, and hopefully we can get the ball rolling again and finish it off 2018 with another big success in Irish sport.
Yeah, as you say, the games are live on BT Sports, so people back home can follow your progress.
Yeah, we're first game against Australia, obviously on the 30th. It's 11:30 Irish time.
Okay.
And the following games are the 4th of December against China at 1:30, and then same again against England on the 7th of December. So probably not the most appropriate time. People will be in work or whatever, but look, hopefully some employers can be, accommodating to allow their employees to kind of watch a bit of the game, and obviously be on social media and on BT, like you said. So there's enough coverage of it, you know what I mean? So we have to just match it with the performances and with the results.
Brilliant. Shane, thanks a million for coming in.
Thank you very
Best
much.
of luck in India, and we'll see you again.
Cheers,
Thanks a million.
Ryan, thank you very much.
Cheers.